again!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good...
Hi, welcome to First Sports. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get the show started. On the show today, rains wash away the last moments of the Pakistan cricket team at the ICC Champions Trophy. Their campaign ended on a winless note, with fans fuming over the reasons being given for their horror show in a tournament they themselves hosted. Meanwhile, Iraq is proving to be a hurdle in football, returning to Palestine after a long gap. They refused to play Palestine at their home or in the alternate venue proposed. What's the reason, and will this prove to be a roadblock in Palestine's footballing dreams? And an exclusive interview with badminton national coach and one of the best sporting brains India has produced, Pullela Gopichand. He clarified his stand on people taking up sports as a profession in India. More on this in the show. But first, a look at the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with cricket, Australia pacer Mitchell Starc is vying to make a comeback in India's domestic T20 tournament, the Indian Premier League. The pacer has been bought by Delhi for $1.4 million at the 2025 auction. Starc, remember, had opted out of the ongoing ICC Champions Trophy. He said a sore ankle had forced him to sit out of the tournament. In tennis, world number one Yannick Sinner's nomination for the Sportsman of the Year award was cancelled. This was due to the 3-month doping ban Sinner received earlier this month. Sinner tested positive twice for a banned substance last year. On to football. Turkish football club Fenerbahçe's coach Jose Mourinho has been handed a 4-match suspension along with a $44,000 fine. Mourinho criticized Turkish referees post the heated Istanbul derby. Turkish club Galatasaray are also set to initiate criminal proceedings against the manager for racism. Over in American sports, former NFL player Chris Kluwe claims he was fired from his job over anti-MAGA protests. Kluwe was coaching a local high school team in California. The former Minnesota Vikings punter was arrested over a protest at a city council meeting. Kluwe also made critical comments about the Trump administration. And Russian chess grandmaster Boris Spassky passed away at 88. Spassky held the world champion title from 1969 to 1972. He lost his crown to American grandmaster Bobby Fischer in a historic game. The game was called Match of the Century. Pakistan's presence in the ICC Champions Trophy has drawn to a close. These, in fact, were the final moments of what has been a horrid campaign for them, a forgettable one, and I'm being a little too kind. Their last group game against Bangladesh in Rawalpindi, a washout. Fans, of course, very dejected, and I'm sure it would be an equally disappointed players at the end of what's been not the perfect tournament, far from it, for Pakistan. Has Pakistan cricket reached an all-new low? Nothing else could possibly come close to being knocked out of an ICC tournament that you yourself hosted. A tournament where you did not even win a single game, lost 2 of the matches and couldn't even play a third. What was meant to be a historic moment turned out to be a rather disastrous one. The Captain Mohammad Rizwan, leading his side in his very first ICC tournament, couldn't have had the worst possible start to his stint. He kept apologizing to all Pakistan cricket fans for an utter no-show.
We wanted to do well and perform well in front of our nation. The expectations are very high. We didn't perform well. It's disappointing that we didn't perform well. We accept that. The nation is upset, and so are we.
He also went on to speak about the untimely injuries to 2 key personnel in their ranks, Sayyum Ayub and Fakhr Zaman, saying that possibly disturbed the whole team mentally.
The guy who has been performing from the last few months in Australia, South Africa and Zimbabwe was out. The team was combined, and then suddenly when someone gets injured, the team gets disrupted. Yes, Fakhr Zaman and Sam Ayub were injured, but we will learn from this.
Rizwan was apologetic and tried to show some courage, smiling through what clearly has been the worst ICC campaign for Pakistan in the last many decades. through their cricketing journey, but the truth will not stay quiet with words of remorse and just a smile. Pakistan Cricket Board, Pakistan leadership, the coaching staff, the selectors and the board have to answer some very tough questions. Questions that their most loyal and objective fans are asking. The internet exploded yet again with a truckload of reactions and taunts. PCB and the players were massively trolled for what has been a comedy of a Champions Trophy campaign. The hosts spent thousands of dollars, splurged on their infrastructure, announced to the world that this was going to be Pakistan's moment of reckoning, their moment of glory, that they wouldn't just win over everyone by their hospitality and by how they would present this tournament, but also by their performance on the field. They put up deplorable performances against two of the top sides in the tournament and couldn't even get their own fans to witness their last outing in the tournament. Their Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif had stuck his neck out while announcing to the world that Pakistan would not only beat India but lift the trophy too. But the truth, of course, has been far from it. With the stark realization that this is the defending champions crashing out of the tournament and rather unceremoniously, leaving former greats seething all over again.
We have been backing these players for the last few years, but they are not learning nor improving. It is time for a major shake-up. We need to improve our system of domestic cricket so that we can produce quality cricketers, not ordinary ones.
You have chosen the wrong role models. Your thought process is wrong. You were a fraud from the beginning, you are a fraud now. You have been deceiving from the start. Honestly, I don't even want to discuss Pakistan cricket team.
Changes in the team are inevitable if you have to change cricket as per modern day cricket. If you don't change your approach, players, then changes will be in the team.
Seems like that is their permanent mode of expression when it comes to responding to Pakistan cricket team's performances these days. The loss, this one, bigger than the last, will put wheels in motion all over again. The sacking, the new appointments, the rejig, expect much drama to follow in the days to come, especially when the Prime Minister himself has reportedly decided to step in and take matters into his own hands regarding shaking up the system and finding out what is indeed wrong with it. It will take more than just a magnifying glass for this detection, Mr. Prime Minister, that I can assure you. Israel and Hamas agreeing to a temporary ceasefire has meant a pause on war, which is still fragile given the tense situation in West Asia. Now Palestine was hoping that this ceasefire would mean bringing some level of normalcy to the one sport that has given them joy, football. But Iraq has clearly quashed those hopes too. The uncertainty hangs over the fixture between the two nations. That is the Asian World Cup qualifier, and that continues. Palestine was set to host Iraq in the third round encounter next month. The venue proposed for the fixture was Palestine's ground near Jerusalem. That would have marked the return of an international fixture for the first time since 2019, when COVID struck the world. Sports governing body FIFA, Asian Football Confederation or the AFC even inspected the venue, keeping in mind all the security concerns. That gave a green light to Palestine for hosting the match, but of course with one condition, a rider, that Iraq had to agree to travel across. As luck would have it, or just political tension at play, Iraq refused to travel to Palestine, or so we thought. And it wasn't the security that bothered them, but the absence of VAR technology, which irked the Palestinian Football Federation. The reason behind Palestine's anguish in this whole catastrophe is Iraq's sentiments have been always with Palestine. Iraq's political stance on Israel has never changed. Iraq participated in the 1948, 1967 and 1973 wars against Israel. Across ethnic and religious lines, Iraqis are appalled by the Israeli bombardment of Gaza. In other words, this football match was supposed to be a time for Iraq to show that they still trust Palestine. There was supposed to be a medium to bring football back to the war-ridden country. But Iraq is not viewing this with that lens. For them, it's qualification on the line. This match holds great significance as it could decide their fate for a World Cup spot. And the absence of VAR means the slightest margin of errors could prove to be costly. Iraq, of course, if you look at how they are placed in the group standings, are 3 points behind table toppers South Korea. They are facing stiff competition from Jordan right below them, who are just 2 points away. The top two from this group will, of course, qualify for the 2026 World Cup directly. Iraq have 3 more matches post the game against Palestine, which includes a difficult one, of course, against table toppers South Korea. So the game against Palestine is key. Iraq is banking on this match to extend their lead over Jordan, who are placed just below them. And Palestine haven't been easy opponents either. Sure, when you took a look at that, they were at the bottom of the table, but their recent performances, including the AFC Asian Cup round of 16 qualification, showed how feisty they can truly be. So with Iraq saying no to Palestine, Jordan was then selected as an alternate neutral venue. A regular occurrence with Palestine. Ever since the war started, they've hosted all their matches in neutral venues like Qatar, Jordan, Kuwait and Malaysia. But Iraq isn't too keen on playing in Jordan either. So the reason behind Iraq's reluctance? Well, the points difference between the two sides, Jordan and Iraq here, is just 2. So a country that's a direct competition here, Jordan, cannot be a neutral venue. And while Iraq's justification is fair, given a World Cup spot is at stake, what their denial has done is upset Palestine for not helping their cause. Now, FIFA and AFC are yet to weigh in on Iraq's refusal to play both in Jordan and Palestine. But will Iraq's lack of support tarnish the otherwise healthy relations these two nations share? Should they have valued the bigger cause at play here, a sport returning to war-torn country over their own strategies? Let us know what you think. India is a country with 1.4 billion people, and now, of course, there are more and more taking up sports as a career, or at least pursuing it in that fashion. But is it really for everyone? Former Olympian Pullela Gopichand faced heat over his comments about why only certain kinds of people should opt this career. But what did he really mean by that? In a conversation with him, India's badminton coach stated the reason why not everyone is guaranteed success in the industry and why such an issue needed to be addressed. Listen in. All right, on Beyond the Line, joining me today is someone very, very special. He's had an incredible journey on the court himself, been an All-England champion, has won a lot of recognition from the country, the Arjuna Award, the Dronacharya Award, of course, Padma Bhushan, as well as the Khel Ratna. Prestigious achievements, and of course, he's done much more as a coach as well, nurturing and mentoring talents that have gone on to do wonders on the world stage. Joining me is Pullela Gopichand, the national coach of the badminton team. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Of course, Gopi, we would have spoken about many more things or positive things, but unfortunately, what we are going to talk about, at least start things off with, is the comments that have sort of happened over the last few days. Have you managed to sort of steady yourself over the last few days, considering what has happened and how it has been misconstrued?
Well, I think in some sense, when I look back, I think it's good what's happened because for the longest period of time, I've been advocating that everybody should play sport, and nobody seemed to kind of put it up there. But I think what this topic has brought up is an issue which is very dear to my heart, and I believe which needs us to really think about. Because as a country in the last few years, we've grown, we've inspired people to
Yeah.
take up sport. And today, people are aspiring to be badminton players, to be athletes, to be shooters, to be wrestlers, boxers. Many fields have actually come on and said, have many athletes have come on and inspired people to take up sport. What we are missing here is that to understand is that sport is a place where it is guaranteed that 99% or more percentage of people who take up sport fail. And it's very important that we figure an exit strategy for them. They may not fail because they haven't worked hard, but the nature of sport is like that. If you're writing an exam, all of us can get 100% mark. But if 100 people were to actually play a tournament or a race, only one of them will win. And when the top position is so elusive, and we know for a fact, we don't know which of the one will be the champion, but we know for a fact 100% that 99% will fail.
Yeah.
We are not talking about an exit strategy for them. And this is the single point which I have. And in some sense, I'm okay with the subject being flared up and the
Yeah.
controversy happening because thankfully, at least people have come and we are talking this subject, which I think is very, very important and relevant.
It is a very relevant topic at this point because, for those uninitiated, of course, what started it all was a comment you'd made about how difficult it is for sports persons, a majority of sports persons, to excel, and how finances becomes a very crucial aspect. Having said this, though, and having given you a clarification, though, Mr. Gopichand, do you still attest to the fact that in a population such as ours, such as India, it is going to be a very, very difficult task to anyway excel and be the best in any sporting discipline? Would you attest to that?
Yes, of course. I think what we have done in the last few years is made the entry more better. In fact, our access to infrastructure is better. Our schemes have also been better. People from corporates actually taking care of sports persons, Kelo India scholarships, a lot of things which have inspired people to take up sport is very good. So we've sorted the entry in, but it is like the Padma view. We haven't figured the exit out. I'm saying entry has gone so better that so many people have taken up the sport.
Yeah.
But how do we ensure that the exit is good? And that is the point which is of concern for me.
No, but the follow-up question I have to that is, how does an athlete really then tackle something like this? Because you talk about passion, you talk about in any field, even in a field like ours where it is as competitive and it's as demanding and there's very little room at the top. When do you really, what has to drive you is passion, but when you're saying that that itself has to come with a rider and with a disclaimer and a backup strategy, then what's the sort of vision or the aim that the athlete then heads into something, a challenge like being the best in the world with?
I think it's not for the athlete to think that. The athlete has only plan A.
Okay.
He doesn't have a plan B because the day you have a plan B, then plan A won't succeed. It is for society which knows that 99% is definitely going to fail. How can we just leave this subject to the open?
Yeah.
We know for a fact out of the 100, one might become a champion, but we know that 99 will not. And having known that 99 will not, how are we not even addressing this issue? And that's the point. And you said about education or
Yeah.
other fields, right? See, here is an athlete who's burned. Say he starts off at age 6 or
Correct.
7, spends, say, 13, 14 years till an age of 21. Then he excels at the world level, and all he gets is a job which is not very paying him much. In which field do you excel and not succeed in life? If you're a good doctor, you earn for life. If you're a good uh, journalist, you will earn for life. But in which field do you excel and fail? I think I'm saying about those people who are excelling. Just take care of the medalists, our Olympians, our Asian Games medalists, Commonwealth medalists, our national champions. Just take care of few of them at the top with safety. Then once you've sorted them out, take one step below and take care of state champions. We are so happy with that one success story
Yeah.
that we talk about that one Neeraj Chopra who's done well or one badminton player who's done well. But for every one, there is a 10,000 of them who've not made it. And there are 10,000 of them who are aspiring that they want to be there. I don't want to kill their dreams and say it's not going to happen.
Exactly.
But I know it is not going to happen for 99% of them.
Do you think the two other contributing factors to this argument of yours is one, of course, the finances? You know, the more you pay, the more you invest, the more you travel, the more you travel, the more people you play against. I mean, the cycle goes on. That's one. The other one, of course, is the kind of support system that you have to get, get more people, push up more people to the top layers. Do you think those two factors are being addressed in this country at this point?
You're turbocharging them with a scholarship to actually swim into the sea. You have a problem there. I'm saying it's very good. It's improved drastically from what it used to be. People are considerate, schemes are better, government is better, corporates have put investment, CSR into it. Everybody is doing their bit. There's like 100%, there is a very, very good growth. But at the end of the day, the nature of sport is that out of all the wrestlers, only one might qualify for the Olympics in that weight category.
Yeah.
The second also will fail. Whether you have 1,000 people playing or 10,000 people playing, we will only have those numbers.
Who do you think is responsible, or who do you think should sort of take this forward in planning such strategies, or to sort of bring about a change in the manner in which you're asking?
It's a difficult problem, I know, because the sports department deals with sports, the education department deals with education. There's corporate sector is another sector, private entities are another sector. We just need all of us to come together. First, recognize that this problem exists, talk about it,
Yeah.
because year after year we talk next Olympics, next Asian Games, next. We were only talking that, and we are talking that 0.1% and their big success, and we think that the success will definitely come. Fantastic, but we have to know whether the success might come. But the reality is that these kids are going to fail for sure. This is the given. And I think if we know that this is going to happen for sure, why should we not address it?
Just to wrap it up, I have to, of course, ask you a bit about, what the badminton contingent, the scene is like currently. Been a bit of a mixed bag sort of last few months for Indian badminton. Your thoughts on what the year could look like, and your thoughts on how certain key players across the different disciplines, across different competitions would look to sort of pace themselves this year?
We have a bunch of players who are experienced, whether it's Lakshya Singh or Pranoy or whether it's Sindhu or Satvik Chirag. Hopefully, we will have them win those big medals, which have been elusive in the last year.
Yeah.
But also, I'm very hopeful because there's a lot of young talent which is there.
Yes.
So that a lot of them have cracked into the top 50, top 60 of the world. And I do expect that we'll get some good results from them in the coming months.
Expecting more from that side, and of course you to take us through more memorable and defining moments for Indian badminton. Thank you so much for joining us, and wishing you all the best as always.
Thank you very much.
Time for last serve. German giants Bayern Munich celebrated their club's 125th anniversary. The most successful club in Germany celebrated the historic event in a grand manner, with English star Harry Kane, manager Vincent Kompany, and FIFA president Giovanni Infantino, among others, in attendance. Take a look. What a trip down memory lane. That wraps it up here on Firstpost. But of course, do follow our constant coverage of the Champions Trophy. There are a lot of key matches coming up. I'll see you, of course, on the other side of this. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.
Merci beaucoup. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogan, Komeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically, in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Lohon, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs. And that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.